All right, you guys, good morning again. Happy Monday. My name is Starla Scribner. I am a 200K out of Granbury, Texas. Super excited to have you guys on with us today. I love Mondays. I love this roadmap to 200K Zoom. We're always bringing great, valuable information to you and to your team. We always have this recording. I will post it underneath wherever you saw this original graphic. There will be a recording posted underneath. So if you have anyone that you need to share it with later, or you want to rewatch, all of our roadmap Zooms are recorded and all of it is there for your for you to get at any time. So I'm really excited about today's topic. This is something that I could do a whole series for a month all by myself and talk to you guys about building momentum and the importance of persistence. But luckily, you don't have to just hear from me. I have incredible leaders on my team that teach me things all the time. I learn from them. They're rock stars. They outdo me and outshine me all the time. And I love just soaking up the goodness. So I know they're going to bring you guys valuable information today. But what I want to start with is actually, it's super funny that my sister-in-law sent me this quote this morning, just as a random good morning, happy Monday. This is something I read today, made me think of you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sharing that with the team today because it fit right in. The quote is, motivation comes after starting, not before starting, and action is what produces momentum. And that quote is from James Clear and from the book Atomic Habits. And another fun fact, I literally just got that book, Atomic Habits, in the mail last week. And I'm so excited to start reading it, and especially now, because that's true. So if you just stop and think about it, action is what produces momentum. So you'll hear us say all the time, you need to build momentum. You want to build momentum. Once you get momentum built up in your team, in your organization, in your group, it's hard to stop. We used to use the analogy of a freight train. You know, it takes a long time for a freight train to get started, but once it builds up that momentum and it's going and it's rolling and it's going so fast, then it's hard to stop. And you don't want to let it stop, because once it stops, it's hard to get it going again. But people always say, well, what does that mean? Like, what do I do? How do I build that momentum? Well, number one thing, it starts with you. There's no one going to start momentum within your team or light that fire. You're the one that needs to build that fire. Like, it will not get lit until you build the fire. So you have to do that yourself. So what do I mean when I say build momentum? And I love this because I always turn it on to me. If things slow down in my team, I know I've got to do more work. If my team isn't doing stuff, I can't blame the team. I have to look back to see what I'm doing. If my PPA is getting low, I know it's because I'm not doing anything and I'm the one that has to bring in the new fire. So point is, you want to be an action taker, not an excuse maker. And it's true, you're one or the other. There are people all the time pointing blame or making excuses as to why things aren't growing. And then there are other people like Betty and Laura, who you're about to hear from, that are the action takers. They're the ones making things happen. And they know if they're doing the work, that good things are going to happen. So in my opinion, to build momentum within your organization, it starts with you. And if you're doing something now and you're not creating the momentum that you need or that you want or that you desire, or your paychecks aren't growing, then you just have to change something. If nothing changes, then nothing changes, right? If you do the same thing all the time, you're going to get the same results all the time. So if you want something different, you have to do something different. And that doesn't mean just post on social media. It means you have to be posted on social media and in your stories, and you have to be doing personal reach outs, and you have to be doing the follow-ups, and you have to be touching base with your leader to make sure that your mind is staying in the right place. You have to be doing a little bit of everything, not a lot of one thing, to grow your business around here. So to build that momentum, if you're really great at social media, but you don't know what to say to people to reach out, get with your leader and start doing those personal reach outs, showing up and doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 every day. Do Thrive Locals. If you don't do any and you don't have people thriving with you in your local area, then add that to your daily regimen. If you don't want to do that, or don't really have an area where you can get out to do Thrive Locals, go live and share your story. once or twice a week, invite somebody else to go live with you, do more follow-ups. There are so many different things that you can do to create the momentum, to build the PPA, to bring in new thrivers that are then going to be on fire with you. So I don't want to take away from the things that Laura and Betty are going to talk about. So I'm going to jump right on over to Betty and let her jump in. I will tell you, this woman is always at the top of our team's PPA. I have a large team and she is always at the top. And I don't mean just top 10. She's usually in the top 5 at the very minimum, and outshines me every day. So you guys grab your pen and paper because you're going to want to take notes. And Betty, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your wisdom.
Thanks, Darla. I appreciate that. And the reason my PPA stays pretty high is because I am persistent. I mean, there's not a day goes by that I don't strive to hit those 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, the income producing activity. And it works, folks. That's all I can say. Each one of them are simple to do. They take a little time. But once you do it, you persist long enough, you're going to succeed. And if you don't know what the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is, look in your cloud office under resources, documents, and you'll find it. I think it's under training. I don't know, but look under resources. You'll see it. And we're not talking about persistently selling, because I don't consider myself a salesperson. And I do not sell. What I do is in my mind and in my words, I serve other people. I share with them what I've discovered. I find out what they need and I serve them, and I do it persistently. I'm constantly looking for those people who need what I have. And that's what works. It's about persistently planting seeds with new people, not just the same people over and over and over again. If you've been doing that with one person, move on. If they're not thriving with you yet, find your new people, helping those new people see what's possible for them. So in one of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it says find 2 new friends every day. Okay, I'm going to challenge you. Don't stop at 2 people. Get as many new friends or followers, if you want to call them followers, as you can get. And how do you do that? Well, I'm going to have some suggestions for you too. Let's see. I'll start with this one. Everybody has to use social media platforms, right? Whether you go with 1 or whether you go with 5, whatever. Like Facebook, they have suggested friends for you. Go there and look. Instagram has suggested friends for you. Go there and look. Find those people that are suggested. Look at their page. See if you can relate to them. If you can relate to them, they can relate to you. And send them a friend request. And don't just immediately start talking about Thrive. Remember, you want to serve them. So learn a little bit about them. Find out what their life is like, what they're missing in their life, what they need in their life. Okay, suggested friends. There you go. Look there. Find some people that you can relate to and reach out to them. That's one way. Another way is to go to your groups. If you're not using groups, you're missing out a lot. I mean, I'm a gardener. I learned so much from the gardening groups that I'm in, and I've made several friends in there. I don't approach them in my group about the product, no, but I persistently comment on their posts. I persistently, that means every day, and I've got a list of my groups that I check off every day. Did I look in this group? Did I look in that group? Is there something there that I can intentionally and purposefully and hopefully give something good that I can share with them in those posts, in those groups. And people are gonna, when they read what you put, now here's the key. When you're commenting in groups Or maybe you're commenting in your friends. You've already got a friend, you're commenting on their page. Whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you comment, make it interesting. Make it interesting to the point that their friends, when they read your comment, they're going to say, whoa, look at what she said. Boy, and they're going to go to your page and say, who is that? And they're going to check you out. If they relate to you, they're going to send you a friend request. So, and it's a big one, folks. Whatever you do, your stories, your TikToks, your reels, all of these you can find new followers in. If you're using reels and people are looking at your reels, by golly, just go back and say, hey, thanks for checking out my reel today. You may not be their friend. You can still send them a message and say thanks. And then if they're the kind of person that relates to you, you relate to them, start learning about them, build that relationship. Birthday greetings. Okay, if you're on Facebook, you get your birthday list every day of the friends. Use it, folks. Use it to make something interesting on their page so that their friends can check you out. And when you think about what interests you, when you look at other posts, those are the kind of posts that you're going to be wanting to make. All right. Okay, here's something else that I see a lot of promoters not doing. They may make a great post, maybe even about our product on their page, but you know what? It's not public. You know, the ones that are going to see it are their friends that they already have. Make that post public so that everybody can see it. You know, if it's showing up in feeds because people are commenting on it, let the world see it, not just your existing friends. Now, if you've got children and you want to make a post about their pictures, of course, you can make that post more private. But when you want something that you want to attract new people to, be sure it's public. Persistently, every day, seek new followers, seek new friends. You need them to build your business. Every day is a brand new day. And there's going to be new people out there watching, looking, and needing what we have. So persistently, every day, go out there and look for those new people for you. I've got a quote too that I read this morning. It's by Dennis Waitley. I didn't write down his last name, but I think it's Waitley. He's a motivational speaker and also has some books. He says, quote, the extra energy required to make another effort or try another approach is the secret to winning. So folks, just like Starla said, if what you're doing isn't working, change it. Find something that does work and persistently look for it. Once you get that conquered, then look for another approach. If you see a goal that you want to reach and your mind says, that's impossible, and you think, I can't do that, you have to be more persistent. You have to make more effort, and you have to definitely change your thinking, because if you do put the energy and the effort out there, you will succeed. And I've learned that by reading and learning and getting on Zooms. If you're not getting on Zooms, folks, you're hurting yourself. You're never going to learn. You got to learn from the people who are doing it. And okay, this sounds like, and we keep saying don't sell, but this book, can you read it? Okay. It's by Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world. Look how small it is, folks. You can read this in one night if you wanted to. It's got some wonderful information in here, some wonderful advice, and it's It's almost spiritual. So go for it. Learn, learn, learn. You will succeed. And that's it, Starla. I hope I helped.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I love you, Betty. So you guys see, I told you could learn from Miss Betty Shelton. We do all the time. She's amazing. I even learn from her and other leaders on my team just from following them on social media. I don't always like and comment on all their things because I want to make sure that my algorithms are showing me non-thrivers and other people that I'm trying to interact with first. But I still will watch, like, when I'm scrolling across my stories. So when I see Laura's or Betty's, I go click through, or Ashley McQueen. Like, those girls are amazing and so consistent in their sharing on social media and stories that, maybe I am not feeling very creative that day or not sure exactly what to say, but going through and watching other people that are doing the right things and having the success you're looking for, then it'll inspire you. It'll motivate you. It'll give you ideas or pictures that you can copy or recreate or use your own words. So, that's always great. It's always, which is why it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded people who are where you want to be. They say you become like the 5 people that you hang out with the most, or that you spend the most time with. So do you want to fly with the eagles or cluck like the chickens? Like, what's the saying that they say, So you want to make sure that you are surrounding yourself and talking to and absorbing things from people who are having that success, not the people that are dragging you down or weighing you down, which is a totally different subject. But that's what I think of when I think of Laura and Betty, which is why I wanted them to come on and share with today. So I'm going to introduce Laura to you guys. Gosh, so inspiring. She has always been a huge motivator for me. We locked arms from the very beginning. I met her as a stranger because I did one of those things that was out of my comfort zone that I didn't really love to do, but it was just a way that would possibly grow my business. If I needed new contacts or new free accounts, then I would pop up a table at a vendor event. And way back at the beginning, this was a market day that I popped up a table at and happened to see this tired, exhausted mama going by with her kid with the sticker and sucker in the hair and other kids jumping around. And she was exhausted. And I yelled, "Tired mama slept thrive." And we have locked arms since that very day. And she exploded this business with persistence, intentional work, and learning and growing something new that was out of her comfort zone and absorbing all the things and using it to her benefit. But she's amazing at persistence. So Laura, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you share.
Well, thank you for the welcome. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I'm at a picnic bench outside of a hotel right now, and I'm so happy to be on this call. Persistence is actually my very favorite topic of all topics for many reasons. Let's just say this. You have to be so crystal clear and catch that vision of what it is that you want out of this business. Because if you are here, you've said yes at some point, right? Something has crept into your heart, into your soul, into your thought process that, what about me? What if I could do that? I could do that, right? So when we start anything, no matter what it is, whether it's a new business, whether it's a new hobby or activity, or wanting to learn a new sport, how do you get good at that, right? You get good at that by showing up and practicing what it is that you want to learn every single day, right? So I wrote down the definition of persistence. I know you guys probably already know what it means, but firm continuance in a course of action in spite of the difficulties or the opposition that's going to come your way, right? So I'm a visual person. I like to envision where I'm going. So when I first started this, as meeting Starla as a complete and utter stranger, right? She put me through the funnel. She did all of the right things as far as getting me the correct information that I needed to hear about. Her Simple Thrive experience, her getting me on a 3-way call, her putting me on the Facebook fan page so that I could read all the other stories. And she did all of those things. So if I wouldn't have started out right, I'm not sure if I would have been able to grow that momentum, if that makes any sense to you. We have this very simple way of reaching people or sharing, sprinkling information out there, planting those seeds, like Betty mentioned, to our friends and new networking people that come into our lives. We have to be extremely persistent and consistent with our every single day activities. So when I first started, I was very scared. I was nervous what my friends were going to say. I was nervous that nobody would want to join me. I was nervous that people were going to think that I was insane and crazy joining a network marketing company. I had a lot of doubts that were creeping into my head. But what I did, and what I always encourage everybody to do, I had my goals set up right. Lavelle is amazing with that, right? You've got your 4K. That's your first goal is going to be hitting that VIP, right? And I always have put it in a diamond, like a baseball diamond. Again, I'm a visual person, right? So having your goals set out in front of you like that already, right, when you're joining the company was huge for me. It helped me visualize each step by step that I wanted to go. So your home plate is obviously in those first 14 days of getting people on the Thrive experience, making sure that you're getting your products for free with those 2 referrals. And that first base, right? Your first rank would be 4K. So that would be my next goal. Right? So how am I going to get to that next goal? How many people am I going to need to reach out to? How many people am I going to have to help, or am I going to need to help to get their product for free? How many people can I help hit that VIP so that I could quickly get to that first base? And once you get to that first base of 4K, Lavelle's got it set up for you and your team to go ahead and hit for that 12K. So you're going to be at second place, your second base. And then your third base is your 40 to 80K. And then your home plate, right, is 200. And you just want to keep rounding those bases. So when you're consistently and persistently, so persistence is over going to come any resistance ever, right? So if we have all these negative thoughts in our head all the time because we are so worried about what other people are going to think about us, so worried about what they're going to say behind our back, or so worried about the times that you've reached out to them about the Thrive experience and they're still not ready to join you, you got to keep moving on. Like Betty said, you need to just continue to be persistent and consistent in your efforts to continue to bring in new blood, continue to build your network so that your cold market turns into a warm market, depending on how long you've been in this business. If you've just started, if you've been with us for years now, we're always needing to bring in new people, right? So you probably feel like you've expunged through your whole warm market. You've already told all your friends and all your family. So again, what's important is to keep getting into those groups, keep building that network, keep building those relationships so that that cold market then turns into warm market for you. Removing the negative thoughts, the negative people is going to be the fastest way for you to help reach those goals, simply by not allowing those naysayers to get into your mind, into your thought process, and to deter you from what your goals are, right? So being crystal clear, writing it down, getting your vision board. I mean, I'm a huge vision board person, reading those books, listening to YouTube videos. There is so much free information out there to help you grow in this business. And if you aren't learning and growing, then you'll never make it to your first base, second base, third base, and home plate, right? So, what do you do when you hit these roadblocks? Well, that's inevitable, right? You're going to have team members who join you, who have life experiences happen to them that keep them from following through with their personal goals. If I were to rely heavily on my team for everything, we would never have any momentum, right? Because life does happen. So there's always going to be something in the way. It's kind of like the guy with the axe that keeps, plugging away, trying to get through the wall to the other side. And how many people do we know that get so tired that they quit? And all they needed is one more whack away and they were busting through that wall. Another analogy for me has always been floating down a river. And I've been saying the same analogies for years. And I'm only sharing these with you just simply because to me, that makes sense. Life is full of roadblocks. There's going to be boulders in the way. There's going to be moments where your team, you are in the rapids, you are flying like that freight train that Starla mentioned. And then there's going to be moments where there's that huge boulder and all of a sudden you feel like you can't get through, right? So what are you going to do that? You're going to remove yourself from all the negative people who are telling you you're never going to get through that roadblock, right? You're going to plug into every single team call that's available to you at any time you feel down or low. Plug in, surround yourself with other people who are persistently building their businesses so that they can succeed. And that just soaks you all up, right? It's like it fills up your cup. You start to feel this sense of excitement again. You may have lost momentum from here and there. Again, life is crazy. There's always a problem, right? We always have problems. If you're not in a problem right now, you may have just came out of a problem. You might be heading towards another problem, right? So that's just life. So what is it that caused you to say yes? Was it the financial freedom? Was it the time freedom that you wanted with your family? Write it all down, make those short-term goals that then propel you into those long-term goals. Persistency in anything in life is vital in any area of your life if you want to be successful. I was afraid I was going to go off on a tangent, but Betty had actually found some Google statistics that I wanted to share with you that I think is pretty eye-opening, and that's really has a lot to do with follow-ups. If we aren't consistently reaching out to people, right, and we aren't consistently letting them know that we're thinking about them, if we aren't consistently and persistently sharing the Thrive experience on social media platforms or wearing our DFTs where it's visible for people to have that conversation with you, then we are doing ourselves a disservice, right? So follow-ups to me is also one of the most important, most vital pieces of information when you're building your business because, and here's the statistics, 60% of customers say no 4 times before they actually say yes, right? So I think about when I first started and Starla asked me to get started. She wanted me to jump right on in. Well, I wasn't ready. I needed that 3-way call. She reached out to me. I needed some time with a sample. I needed her to be patient. It was almost like I needed to absorb things a little bit more. And you have to think about it that way. Anytime you see something that you really want, a lot of times you have to be exposed to it several times before you actually decide to purchase it, right? You've been thinking about it, whether it's a car, whether it's a house, whether it's a handbag that you're dying to have, whatever it is, right? So 60%, 4 times or more, right? 48% of salespeople never even make a single attempt. That's a huge failure for you and your business if you never even actually follow up. You've had the conversation at one point, but you're too afraid to reach out to them and continue that conversation. That's 48% of salespeople who never even were able to complete that opportunity to get them started on the product because they were too afraid that they possibly would say no. 80% of sales reps require 5 follow-up calls. So that's a huge number, 80%, 5 times that they've reached out before actually landing that sale. So the more you're reaching out, the more you are consistently following up and being persistent in those efforts and sharing something that's so life-changing over time, right? The more you reach out, the more that seed is going to start to sprout at its own time frame. Again, it also has a lot to do with when the timing is right for that person. You don't all necessarily know what's going on in their personal life. Finances could be a problem. They could be going through major life changes. Again, there's always problems. We have a solution to offer them to help them feel better during those difficult times. But sometimes people just need to know that they're being thought of, okay? 44% of salespeople give up after their very first follow-up. That's, almost half of people decide that they reached out once and that was it. And then they never bring it up to that person ever again. So that is part of what we do, is exposing people to the Thrive experience, exposing to them to this lifestyle that they have been dreaming of. A lot of people are actually super comfortable in their lives the way they are, but those aren't our people, right? Our people, thrivers, are the happiest, most exciting people. We love life. We love to help other people. We love helping people thrive in life. So be that positive, person that is thinking of others, that is putting their needs before their own, and really consistently being available for anyone when they are ready to jump in and start thriving with you. You have showed them not only that you are consistently thinking of them, but that you're also consistent and persistent in making sure that they're meeting their own life goals as well. So persistency is huge. I could talk about it forever, and I probably rambled too much. So I will pass it back over to you, Starla. Thanks for having me.
You didn't ramble at all. You light my fire. That makes me so excited. I could listen to you all day. You're like me, and you could go on and on and on about this subject and give so much great info. It did make me think of multiple things that I want to tell you guys. Persistence, consistency, I wrap that all up in one, and also intentional efforts. Like if you're putting in intentional efforts, you're going to be persistent in your efforts. And that book that Betty shared with us is where I got the little topic that I put on the graphic, persist until you find success. That quote came from that book, and it's so true. So if you're intentional in your efforts and you're consistent every single day, you will be persistent, and then you will have success. And prime example, I've got a couple of prime examples based on what these girls told you today. Number one, Sheila Fasoni, you guys probably all know her, and if you don't, you should. She's one of the highest income earners in Lavelle millionaire, like incredible. She's the one that got me and my daughter Spring started thriving 8 years ago. And I looked back, I actually was on her team call last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, and the topic was sharing and leading with your whole heart. I actually loved that call. I loved the topic. I loved researching and taking notes for that call. I'll actually try to remember to go post the recording because I think it was really great information. It did my heart good to talk on that subject, but it brought back and made us talk about again, way back when she reached out to me. It took 16 times, 16 messages before I placed an order. What if she had not reached out to me after the first time? I wasn't ignoring her. Sometimes I didn't respond to every message. Some days I reached out to her because I had gone to the website to try to take a look at it, and I didn't know what I was doing or talking about. And it wasn't a no. So like you and Sheila taught me way in the beginning, like go for the no. You want to get as many no's as you can, because that means you're doing the activity and reaching out. And the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. And in the beginning, I was like, well, that's dumb. Why do I want to get a bunch of no's? Like I need some yeses. But it's so true, because it just means you're persistent in the efforts. And those no's typically aren't even no's. They're like Laura just said, they're not ready yet. But when they are ready, you're going to be the one they come to. So until you flat get a no, stop messaging me about this because I am not interested. Then you continue to follow up, continue to drip, continue to be persistent in your efforts. If you know that they are a person that really needs the Thrive experience, and in my opinion, everybody out there needs the Thrive experience if they don't already have it in their body. And if you go forward with that confidence, and then it makes it easier to be persistent. Another thing that popped into my head while listening to Laura, because this was a no, or someone that I probably should have followed up years ago, a lifelong family friend, an older lady. She was my dad's secretary my entire life, like 40 years probably. And way in the first year, I reached out to her. I think she was 65-ish maybe. And I reached out to her about Thrive, and she was like, no, thanks, not interested. Well, she was someone that was so important to me in my life. And her no hurt my feelings, because I was just like, oh, I know she would love it. And she told me no, like I thought she would never tell me no just because of our relationship. She watched me grow up, but it wasn't about me at all. She just wasn't interested. Well, my consistency over all of these years, and we're friends on Facebook. I don't even live in that same town. She's long since retired. I don't really communicate with her much anymore. We see each other on Facebook here and there. She reached out to me the other night and she said, hey, tell me more about Thrive. I think my husband and I both need to order. And so I, sent her all my little clips and connected her actually with Miss Betty, because now the lady is early 70s and Betty's, late 60s. So I thought she'll connect with Betty's story even more than mine. They ordered a couples pack right there on the spot, full price, no discounts. I didn't have to offer anything. He had gone to the doctor and already asked the doctor about the Thrive ingredients. So she's been watching me all these years. But dang it, if I would have been more persistent and not let my feelings get hurt 7 years ago, she probably would have been thriving all of these years. But I let my personal feelings get in the way. I was not persistent with her. And that's something that you learn from the leaders that have had success before you. I didn't learn that from Sheila. I should have, but I didn't take that because she didn't let my ignoring a couple of her messages or not ordering right away stop her from continuing to drip information on me every week until I finally placed my order. So don't make that same mistake. I'm super happy to have my friend thriving now. I can't wait till she gets her order. But if I would have just been a little more confident in my efforts, she'd have been thriving for the last however many years. So also, I wanted to say, and this is something Laura and Betty and I talked about the other day while planning this Zoom, don't let other people's motivation or lack of motivation determine what you're doing every day. So this is flipping from getting new people started on Thrive, and let's talk about leading with your whole heart. Being persistent in your efforts to light the fire and gain the momentum within your team by your efforts. I always have, there's always the ebb and flow in this business, it's a roller coaster. It's always ups and downs as far as team momentum and volume and all this stuff. But in my experience, there's always someone for me to work with. I always have someone to work with, and they know I am showing up every single day. So if this person over here that was on fire last month and they were bringing me three-way calls like crazy, and they had a Lavelle local and we did a vendor event and they had all these new people and they got real excited and they had goals, and then all of a sudden a new month starts and I hadn't heard a word from them, I don't let that stop me, because guess what? This month somebody else is on fire. There's somebody else that's got, they've got goals and they're putting me in three-way calls. And if there's nobody on the team that's doing that, then that's when I can ramp up my personal activity. And I'm the one putting someone in three-way calls and three-way chats. So I always have someone to work with. And I don't care if they're my level 1 or they're my level 10. I am locking arms with whoever's ready to run right now. And there's none of these people that are dropping off. And people may drop off for a year. They may drop off for 3 years. They're always going to come back, or they're always going to get their fire lit somewhere. But during that time when they were taking a little hiatus in their business, I'm not letting that happen in my business. I'm working with the runners who are ready to run right now. And if you don't have them, then if it is to be, it's up to me. You get out there and you build that fire and you light it yourself. And I promise you, you'll be forever grateful. And then that also will make you a more confident leader by knowing you're leading from the front. Speed of the leader is determined by, the speed of the leader determines the speed of the pack. So you want to be that leader leading your team anyway. There's no, be the action taker and not the excuse maker. And honestly, I'll just end with that because I just love that little phrase. If you just absorb it, think about it, decide, commit, succeed, be an action taker, not an excuse maker. I promise you, you'll build the momentum and, be persistent and the success will come. So thank you so much, ladies, for your wisdom, for being, amazing leaders that I can lock arms with every day, and for keeping me and my mind right every day, every week, every month. I love working with all of you. And thanks everyone for showing up today. Mondays are not easy. I love starting the week with this Zoom because, never miss a Monday. That's true for workouts and it's true with leadership Zooms, in my opinion. So thanks for showing up, guys. That's pretty amazing. Y'all go have an amazing week, and we'll see you here next week with Maria Dillard. Will be sharing her vision here with us next week. All right. Thanks. Have a good one.